We on, Dave?
Yep.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Grange TV. We're slowly improving our podcast. David Roberts he's just taken off. He's dropped the alcohol, dropped the crack cocaine, and he's just really improving.
He's received the feedback you guys have generously been giving him and really started capitalising on it.
Guys, it might even be better, I think, if we can give you Dave's home address and you can send letters directly to his house. We also have with us Mr. Robert Whittaker, UFC middleweight champion, avid gardener, good fellow, nice guy.
Yep. Yeah,
and myself. We're going to discuss a bunch of different things this podcast, and I suppose one of the things that we have lined up this podcast is a game of Mortal Kombat between Robert and myself. We have to play Mortal Kombat 1 because it's the only Mortal Kombat that I'm familiar with, although I didn't really get a chance to play a lot of it. And when I did, it certainly wasn't using these things.
Yeah, but you can't say all that, or it's not what I'm familiar with. It came out in 1992. I was 2.
Let's see.
I am not familiar with it.
Let's see, Rob, if you even turn up to this fight.
Oh, well, here we go. Who won the test match earlier?
That's a test match. It's a training. That's like sparring.
Who won the test match?
It's different than to turn up to the fucking actual fight.
We'll see.
Turn up to the fight. That's all I have to say.
We'll see. You have a big game. You talk a big game, but
maybe you'll hurt yourself on the way to playing the last game.
I've never pulled out of a fight injury.
It's not what I've heard, mate.
Sickness, illness.
I've heard that you don't train properly. That's what I've heard. I've heard you're a madman.
Well, I don't. Poor coaching.
That's what I've heard. So, anyways, on what do you think of the card on the weekend?
Well, it was a great card. There were a lot of from the start of the prelims to the actual main card. There were a lot of people getting iced. There were a lot of knockouts, a lot of TKOs, and this main event didn't sell short.
I have a question to kick off with a Benavidez fight. What do you think that's like for someone that? And I mean, we've seen a bunch of people that have gone through that have been like right up there, and then they haven't won the title. He's beaten the champion, so that's a very interesting situation for him. What do you think? How does that discuss?
That's a great way to end the sentence. I guess I've never been in his particular position. I can't imagine how annoying it would feel to have a guy you've beaten become the champion. Be like, I could beat him. I just need to get there. But yeah, he's been a perennial contender for a long time. He's been in the top 5 fighting beasts and killers for a long time, many years. So I guess it's not just him. There's a lot of guys in different divisions that are there, that are so close to the title and just can't get there, or they get a poor matchup stylistically. One fight before the title or something like that. You see it happen in every division.
How much of that can be circumstantial, or how much of that is attributed to the athlete themselves? How much of that can be, like you said, the fact that they've had bad matchups, or the fact that it's something in the athlete themselves that they haven't been able to. Because there's another guy that I look at, Cerrone. He's always been around there, real close, and then loses that eliminator.
Yeah.
Masvidal, to a lesser extent, I think Masvidal is one of the best fighters not to have the belt. Stephen Thompson. Jacare, Stephen Thompson. There's so many of them.
There's heaps.
How much of that is circumstantial? How much of that is the fighter themselves? Damian Maia. There's a whole bunch of guys at welterweight there.
Yeah. But the welterweight division is stacked. It's the most populated division, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That and lightweight, which is...
Yeah. So, you have, perennial contenders going all the way through to, number 20. You know what I mean? They all... I just looked like Damian Maia. He's ranked 12 at the moment. 12. How many times? I think he's gone for a title shot, twice?
I don't know if he fought for the title. I think
he definitely has fought for a title.
Against sure. 2.
I'm not... Didn't he fight Woodley?
Was that for the title, or was that?
I think.
It might have been. Yeah.
That's for the title. But yeah, it's just such a stacked division, you know.
Okay, so in the Benavidez fight, what do you think of that?
It was just crazy sprawl, crazy scrambling. He's a very skilled fighter. Like every time I've seen him fight, and I've seen him fight in live. I think we did that time in New York, maybe.
I think he was sitting next to us. I don't think he fought.
No, I definitely remember seeing him fight. I can't remember what card that was, but I 100% guarantee you I saw him fight. I think it might have been his fight that he was coming back off an injury. He was just coming back into the division. It was years ago though. But his movement is...
Hold on, how do I put this lower?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, audio issues.
Yeah, fucking Dave. Come on.
You know who I think I saw him fight was Sergio Pettis.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. That's just like he's such a skilled fighter. His game is so, you know, across the board. He's got good striking.
I think he fought for the title
wrestling.
twice against Demetrius Johnson and lost them both times. Because
I think everybody in that division fought for the title twice against DJ.
That's what I think is hard as well. Like there are guys that in another time would have been.
I think we touched on this. Maybe 2 podcasts ago, how we're saying Jacare in another world got the title shot and got the title. You know what I mean? Like, because remember we were talking about it, how like if he got ruled the win against Romero and then fought Weidman, who he beat fairly recently, he was the champ at the time. You know, so it is. I guess styles do make fights, and how you match up against your opponent is one thing, but the thing is, like, for myself, I think this is my opinion. Like, this is what I think of. I think if you're going to try and strive for that top dog position, you can't have holes, you can't have weaknesses, you can't have poor matchups. You need to just beat everyone. You know, that's like why you're sitting at the top. And
how much do you think that the title pushes people, as in like pushes them? Yeah, okay, they want the title, but also being a champion yourself and having the belt. You may or may not feel it, but how much do you feel that the belt creates extra pressure for you or for other people? Because when I see people, I see some people that having the belt creates like having an undefeated record or any of those things. You can almost see it in some people that they don't want the belt and they don't want the undefeated record, so they can be free to move. I don't know if you get what I mean. Not consciously, I don't think.
Yeah,
probably
there is definitely that sort of pressure. There is definitely that sort of pressure in, like, when you start to have that 5, 6, 7 win streak, and when you get the title, and then there's like that expected pressure of like you're expected to win, and the thing is, it's not how people people who don't fight or other elite sportsmen, like people, it's not in the sense like, oh, the pressure's crushing me, I'll go home and cry every day. No, it's just subtle. It's subtle. The pressure's subtle, but it's there, you know, and you kind of got to learn to deal with it. It's
almost subliminal, in that people, like, when they speak to you, they'll speak to you like 3 fights ahead. Like, I've had the conversations with people where they go, if Rob wins like 3 or 4 more fights, he'll be whatever, and I think like, well, we just got 1 ahead of us right now, buddy. You know what 100%. I mean? Yes, thank you. We can draw the conclusion ourselves, but the next one is the hardest one. But I think sometimes with people like, and I'm not saying this has got nothing to do with Benavidez, but I was just thinking, like, with him, he's always like, seems to be like right there. And then he had Demetrius Johnson there that he didn't match up well with, and he beat Cejudo. So that's got to be a very interesting fight right now. But now Cejudo has won 2 different belts.
100%. Cejudo looks very good at the moment. He looks very, very good. I'm very interested in seeing what Cejudo's going to do with the bantamweight title. That's the one he's got at the one up. The bantamweight. Yeah. I'm very interested to see what he does there, because they're the top dudes in that division. Fucking good, very good. Like your Dominic Cruz, you know. Who else is in that division? I was going to say TJ, but he's not there at the moment, obviously. But yeah, there are some great guys up in that top upper echelon of that division, and like I'm very interested to see how Cruz goes up against, like, matches up against Cejudo. Like see how fight goes. Maybe I'd like to see how Cody comes back. You know, I think he needs a little bit of time off. His last three losses have been pretty hard to see. But he's a great fighter.
Very good fighter.
He got the title. He beat Cruz. He's a great fighter. So
he fought against Cruz perfect.
Yeah.
He didn't chase Cruz. He didn't chase Cruz around.
He cruised Cruz.
Yeah, but what he did is, like, he just went back to center every single time, and he didn't chase him around. You know what I mean? And like a lot of people get stuck in chasing Dominic Cruz, and you can't, because that's his game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he did that perfectly. As soon as Cruz started getting on his bike and that, he'd get back to the center, kick the legs a little bit. Probably could have kicked them maybe a little bit more, but I think he fought perfectly. And then he has great boxing. He did that like perfect.
Yeah, it was a beautiful fight to watch. I love watching him fight. Both of them. Huge fan of both of those guys. I love watching him fight. So it hurts me to see how you know the losses he's had recently. But I'm sure he'll come back better than ever. But I'd like to see how those guys go up against someone like Cejudo. You know, because Cejudo doesn't move like that, but he hits hard. He's relentless.
He can take a shot.
Yeah, so you got to see.
What do you think of the Damian Maia fight? Damian Maia versus Martin.
Mate, it surprised me to see that he's 41 now. 41, like. I think he's
but he looks like, to me, he looks like a guy that is 41 and just in great shape, and like a 41-year-old, like, and he performs like it. Like you see him, he grappled hard those 2 rounds, and then in the 3rd round
started fading a little bit.
He faded, completely faded.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, that round 1, the way he was implementing his like wrestling grappling, the way he was implementing it was just. Obviously, there's a lot of technique there, but I saw the amount of strength. Because when they did break up at the end of the 1st round, dude, Maia looked jacked. Like, his arms were so swole from that underhook grab.
That isometric contraction.
Yeah, just holding him. And, like, just the techniques he was using to hold him down, like pulling up the legs, locking up the wrist behind the back and pulling him off the fence that way. Just controlling that underhook so he couldn't turn. Like, that's very, very tiring. Like, super, like a lot of upper body work.
And explain to people that have never fought and haven't done it, which is probably most people haven't actually, what that transition is like between the isometric contraction of holding someone and then having to get up and box.
Yeah.
It's different to just holding it on the pads.
Yeah. It's death. Like, if you're not conditioned for like grappling and grabbing and holding and squeezing and then getting back up and like trying to fight, move your head, throw punches, throw kicks, it takes so much out of your arms. It takes so much. Like, your arms just don't feel like you've blown them out. There's nothing there. They're you know, they're so tired. It's you have to condition for that, which is why I have a lot of respect for like the guys that can do that so flawlessly and seamlessly. Like you know who does it really, really well and like implements it perfectly is Weidman. He does that perfectly. Like, he goes from like a wrestling grappling takedown, then back up to standing and striking well-ish. You know.
How hard is that for the guy on the bottom though? Do you think?
To get up.
Yeah, like Maia's got him there. Maia was using a lot of strength to hold him down. But what would that be like for the guy on the bottom? Because the guy's a lot younger too, though.
The guy on the bottom, like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to be held down and not be able to do anything. It's very, very frustrating, and it's super tiring trying to get up. Super, super tiring. I think in that exchange, like the Maya and is it Rocco's?
Rocco Martin.
Rocco Martin. Yeah, Rocco's in their grappling exchanges in round 1, round 2, I think honestly it was more tiring for Maya to keep that position. The only difference was Rocco couldn't get out of that position, so Maya was able to like capitalize on that position, like capitalize the round, like win the round, due to that fact. I think if Rocco was able to get up in round 1 and round 2 with maybe like 2 minutes left on both rounds, it would have been a very different fight. I think Rocco would have taken the win because...
Yeah, but the whole point is that Maya was like, you're not getting...
Yeah, and Rocco couldn't do that, which is why he won, or why he lost. So, yeah, it's...
Was there a stand-up? Was it that? Because I watched a bunch of fights
yesterday. Yeah, I thought that was ludicrous.
That was fucking retarded, eh?
It was ridiculous. Maya had him up against the fence, underhook, like, he had triangling the legs. And it was throwing body shots, head shots, but whatever, like... But he was doing, like, he was moving, he was doing stuff.
Not only that, it is a dominant position
Super
that you work,
dominant.
that you work hard for.
Yeah. Practically mount. And like Damien, like Maya worked so hard to capitalize and get that position. And then they stood him up. I think he was in the third. And that's why Rocco almost took the win, like the stoppage at the end, because he started hitting Maya. Maya was done because he knew. But Maya knew, like, if I get this takedown and just hold him down, I win. And then the ref stood him up. Disappointing, ref. Disappointing. Like that's the worst thing you can do to a person. Like,
especially explain that as well. How hard it is to work for a takedown.
Yeah, because you do it to me all the time when we're sparring. Like, I work so hard to get a shot, so hard to get the guys off the cage and to get them down, and then you go stand up. Like, I have nothing left. Like, I needed that position because you need to get the position to stop. Like, getting a takedown isn't like when you shoot the takedown, you get him in, you get him down. That's not where the takedown stops because he's still moving. There's still movement. There's still momentum. So he can still get up. That's the most dangerous time, and it's the hardest point of a takedown. Is that initial bum hit the ground, scramble area time, and then you need to
because if the guy's halfway glued on, as soon as his bum touches, he's up.
Yeah, he's up and he's away. But so you need to stabilize your position, and that is hard. That's the hardest part of the takedown, to get the position, to stabilize it, get his back on the mat, or get him just to stop. Once he stops moving, then you can start implementing different stuff. But
how hard is it? Like, how many times can that guy? At which point is there a point of diminishing returns for the guy down on the bottom that his bum can hit the ground and he just pop up? How hard is that to do? Like, could he do that indefinitely? Because I know it's harder for you to explode and do the double leg, but at what point? How hard is it to keep popping up? Do you find that extremely difficult? Is that very hard, or is it relatively easy?
I think popping up, like, straight away, like, let's say the takedown wasn't clean, and you get your bum to the floor, your back hits the mat, and you're done, and then trying to pop up from that position. Like, let's say it was he takes you down, but he gets halfway up your legs. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So I think popping up is less energy consuming than him trying to hold a failing takedown. Okay, so person A shoots on person B.
Then he's just holding onto the legs.
He gets the double, but he slides down the legs a little bit. Person A has to work so much harder to try and control the legs, opposed to person B trying to just push the head away and stand back up. So much harder to control the legs. That's what Maya did. He got through that period, got Rocco's back up against the fence, tied up the legs, got the underhook, spent all that energy to get to that position, stabilize it, stop the momentum, then they stood him up.
At what point, though, do you think the person that's defending, once you've got him down, at least once, like if Maya's able to get him on his back flat, how many times could you pop up from that position using just explosiveness, do you think, from the bottom? Take the fact that Maya on top of you is not good. But I'm saying, how hard is it? How many times can you just explode standing up?
Not a great deal of time. Not many. Like you can do it once, twice, maybe. But the thing is, you can do it. Like if you can, and you're not getting.
There's a technical component to it as well.
There's a huge technical component. But let's say if you can get away with doing that, it's dangerous because that sort of stuff. And I've done it. I know how dangerous it is. I've done it against Romero. I've done it against a bunch of people. Like you have to. Like sometimes there is no other option, and you're like, well, I have to get out of this, or I'm dead. So you do what you got to do, but it's dangerous though. You leave yourself up because obviously you need your hands, you need your legs to try and get up. There's nothing protecting your face. You know, obviously he's working on different submissions, perhaps, and it's dangerous. You know, it's very late, but you can't do it that much. It's so tiring to be late.
And I'd imagine that someone like say for example you fought Jacare, which is like Maya for that division. There has to be like I don't know, and I'm asking this, so I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but there has to be like an extra. Are you cognizant of the fact when you're fighting that it's Jacare trying to take you down versus another good fighter?
Not really.
So at that point, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think of it much. And
like you don't think, if I hit the ground with Jacare, it's going to be harder than if I hit the ground with person X?
It's funny. Like problem with that, like the Jacare, when Jacare shot on me, I was so winded. Like I think he body kicked me.
Push kicked you.
Push kicked me so hard just before shooting on me. I was already thinking about my next breath.
But he was winded too because you got him with that left push kick.
Yeah, I was trying to
with that left like front snap kick. Yeah,
I was trying to attack the body a lot. But yeah, like you don't really think about it. The only thing I think about when I'm versing a wrestler or a grappler or anyone really is like I don't want to go down. Like I do not want to go down. Like and that's all I think about. I just think I need to keep this standing. You know, and yeah, we'll go down on my own terms.
Because
you need to be in control of the fight.
But there must be a thing. Like yours was different because it wasn't like Jacare and you had one close exchange on the cage and then that was it. But with that Rocco guy, he got to experience a little bit of Damian Maya. Yeah. Damian Maya pulled guard and got on top. So there must be a thing as well there. They'd have to come to creep it in on you going, this guy's, you've actually felt the difference between your jiu-jitsu and his jiu-jitsu where you're like, okay, fuck, this is...
I think sometimes, and it happens a lot of times with... I see it happen a lot of times with guys that go up against grapplers. When they start grappling, they actually try grappling. They don't... See, when I went up against Jacare and Romero, I knew I had the superior striking, so I needed to keep it up standing. I didn't need to. Yes, I needed to. I needed to keep it standing. I was like, I could have grappled. Nah, I probably couldn't have. But I wanted to keep it standing. That's where my strength was. That's where I wanted to push the fight. So my whole thing in those fights was no ground. No, nada, no ground. And so if we engaged anywhere in a scramble, anywhere, I wanted to get out and get up. Just get out, get up. Never engaging in anything. No, like, all my energy was focused on making distance, getting out. Whereas I see a lot of other guys, like MMA guys, especially the guys that have like a wrestling background, they get caught in that scramble. And with a good jiu-jitsu guy, they usually turn the position and you end up on the bottom, like in the case of Rocco. Like he engaged in the grappling a little bit because he got on top and he started grappling a little bit and Maya was like, this is where I am. Like, this is my game. And swept him, you know. And
there doesn't. I agree with that. Also, remember because you dropped Jacare in that second round, you hit him with the right hand, just kind of like near his ear and his temple, kind of thing. And you probably could have engaged with him at that point.
I did. I walked up to him and I threw some punches. And then I saw that he was still there, and I got the hell out. I got back on my bike.
Yeah, but even I think an important thing is it doesn't even matter whether or not he could have submitted you. Then you could have been able to do maybe what Hermanson did, you know, where you hold him down and land some ground and pound. But I also feel that, and correct me if I'm wrong, and please elaborate on this, that even that, the ground and pound and holding someone down, that gasses you.
Yeah,
And then that takes away from your crispness when you're both standing up.
Yeah, 100%. When you're grappling, you can't switch off. Like, your arms have to work at least as hard, if not harder, than the people on the ground, on the bottom. Like, holding people down that don't want to be held down is super tiring. And, like...
He's not doing jiu-jitsu as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's not jiu-jitsu anymore.
Yeah,
this person's hitting you, throwing elbows.
Yeah, we're in a fight. The thing is, like, it's all about... It's like that profit and loss sort of thing, like, but with energy. Because when you take someone down, you need to, and this only comes from experience. That's why you see a lot of inexperienced guys or newbies coming up. They blow their lungs out, like in the first exchange or the first takedown or the first grappling exchange, and then they gas. Like, it happens all the time, and it can only be found through experience. And it's not one fight and I'm experienced. No, it's your whole career. You get that little bit better at understanding when a takedown is failing, when to really go for a takedown, when to fight for the takedown for do or die, when to, like, give up positions so that you can strike better or give up takedowns. Like, you learn all that throughout your career as a mixed martial artist, so that you get better. You just get better at that energy. Like, understanding your energy levels and what's worth wasting energy on, as well as reading your opponent. So, you know, like, if my opponent's gassed and I want a takedown, like, and he's still very dangerous in the hand, I'll take him down. Like, and if I have to work extra hard for the takedown, I will, because he has nothing left. And when I get on top, he's not, like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna stay there until I go home. You know, it's a funny game. The higher up you go on the totem pole, you really have to, like, it becomes a game of chess. People don't realize it because it's very fast paced and people get iced in 10 seconds or so, but it is a game of chess, you know.
I also think, like, guys like Maya, however gassed they are, unless you're really good at jiu-jitsu, they're going to be more efficient than you.
Yeah, you don't think Maya's ever been gassed in a jiu-jitsu match before? like ever. Like,
yeah, because he's grappling at the top end, he's grappling guys like him.
Yeah, and like he's 41 now, so think about how long and how many. I think he's moving on to, or that might have been his 30th UFC fight.
It's like, yeah, that's insane.
You know what I mean? Like, and he's been in the top 10 for a long time.
And he used to fight a middleweight because he lost the eliminator with Maya, with Weidman. I remember, yeah. So he fought Weidman. So he's a big guy too. A lot of people don't realise for that division.
So you see, like, he's been gassed before. He's been tired before, but his jiu-jitsu is just that good. Like, you can't sleep on him at any stage.
Speaking of sleeping on people, what do you think of David Roberts' mate Ngannou?
Why is it his mate?
I don't know.
Is he an audio technician also?
He's also an audio technician.
He's also an audio tech. Mate, like, honestly, when I look at him, I just think, you know the UFC game? I just picture some scrawny little kid coming and be like, I want to make the biggest guy I can. and just making him as big as he can, and just, like, pushing that power stat all the way up to the top to 100, and then the strength stat all the way up the top to 100. It's like cardio. I don't need cardio. It's like grappling.
No, I don't know if he hasn't got cardio.
Grappling. I don't need grappling. Like footwork. I don't need footwork. Checking. Don't need that.
Just power in your head.
Boxing. Nah, not really. Nothing else. Just pure power. Just power. And that's him.
But he's got skills.
Oh, no, I was joking, obviously. Don't bash me, please. please. But no, like, mate, I'm sure there's a certain...
Dos Santos a big guy.
Yeah, sort of.
Like, JDS, like, his junior's a big guy.
No, he's massive.
Massive. And this guy dwarfed him.
Big time. He dwarfs everyone. Like, he's just... Like, I'm sure there's a statistic that's where it's like the whole, like, strength and size versus technique thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's like...
Yeah, like on a sliding scale.
On a sliding scale. And he's just like at the apex of it, like strength and power, and he's got technique, but he's just so powerful that your technique doesn't matter. Like, he's so powerful
because
he touches you, and you die.
I was watching the fight, and I think Junior started off really well. He hurt him with his calf kicks. Those calf kicks were no joke. They were like really. He had really good strategy.
Yep.
I think
Dos Santos is a great fighter. He's surprisingly nimble for such a big guy.
Yeah, and he used to be kinda like
Ngannou.
Kinda like him, like where
Sledgehammer.
Yeah, people couldn't really, if they couldn't take him down, he was going to box you up pretty bad. And he had, I think he had a really good strategy going into it, but he kind of reached a little bit on that overhand right.
But that's his overhand right. Like when we say he iced Velasquez like that.
Yeah, and not only that, like had that guy not have been Ngannou, like, because Ngannou kind of like grazed him and knocked him out. Yeah, like, and it looks almost like did he hit him?
Yeah.
And you're not sure.
He's just too much power. Like he just touches you and you fall over.
Fucking hell.
He's so monstrously powerful.
How do you see him with DC? How do you see him with DC?
I think DC wins, honestly.
Why do you say that?
Because Ngannou can be taken down. He can be.
Stipe did well.
In saying that though, I'm sure Stipe woke Ngannou up a bit. Because before that, Ngannou was just walking through people. Then he fought Stipe, but then he started walking through people, but smarter. I don't know. DC's like he's fought heavy hitters before, but he just gets in, and when he gets in, you're done. Like he takes you down, and he's there. And at heavyweight, he's a powerful guy. He's a powerful guy, and the heavyweights don't have the cardio to be bouncing up all the time. To be bouncing up, you know what I mean?
The big thing when you get a guy like that is making him hop, making him move. Even in the lighter weights, if you can get the guy to hop and move, and you start to waste his legs away a little bit. But at heavyweight like that, it's massive.
Yeah, it's huge. Like if DC gets a clean takedown on you, like most heavyweights aren't going to get it back up. Like it's going.
And if they get up, they're
done. They're tired. But and DC himself can just do it again. Like he's built like that. He's been doing this since he was a kid. Like that's his whole game. But in saying that, if Ngannou so much as grazes him, DC's done. He's cooked. Like
I'm just going to turn the heat on.
Ngannou's too powerful. Too powerful. He's scary. I was watching his highlight reel, like the UFC posted. I was looking at his highlight reel. Who did he fight? I think he fought. Who was it? Might have been Bigfoot, and he iced him, and then hit him with a hammer fist, like above his head. And Ngannou's a huge guy, so this is covering maybe 7 feet. I'm serious.
Probably more.
Yeah, like probably more. Like it's covering like
his hip is 6'4".
Yeah, so like it's covering like over 7 feet on a dude who's already on the floor dead. Like he's not moving. And I saw it connect. And I was like, well, that guy's next generation's gonna feel it. Like it was so brutal to watch. Like so brutal.
Okay, so you reckon DC beats him? Let's say DC's not there. If Ngannou gets the belt, or who beats him in that division?
It's hard.
Other than Stipe,
it's hard to.
Well, I'd like to see Stipe and Cormier fight.
They are.
Yeah, but that's I'd like to see them fight.
It's hard to say because like if I had to write a game plan to beat Ngannou, it would have to be involve a lot of wrestling. Close the distance. I try to circle out away from his power hand.
Which one's that one?
I don't know.
That's all of them.
Circle backwards.
Man, he's good.
You'd
see how hard he kicked though?
You'd have to.
Which one's his power hand? That's what I would like to know.
I don't know. He's got. Honestly, it would have to be just to close the gap and implement wrestling. You need a wrestling.
Like Stipe did.
Yeah, exactly like that. And the people that would do it is like your Stipe or your Cain Velasquez, but Cain Velasquez already lost to him. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. He just with someone. He's just got that X factor. He's got that X factor that at any stage he might clip you, and that's it. And like with people like that, like Mark Hunt was like that, but I think Ngannou has better, like the body, and he's bigger, like the body, but he has longer arms. He has like a better like body type for that sort of stuff.
Mark, to me, he does have one punch KO power. It's undeniable, but more so than that, what Mark seems to have when I see Mark fight people, is like thumping power. Like it's like it hits you, and if there's like an energy bar, it just half of it's gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas this dude, I feel, just hits you and the console breaks. Do you know what I mean? Like he touches you and it's done.
It's crazy.
Whereas Mark hits you and like unless he knocks you the fuck out right there and then, he hits people and they're still like there, but they're just like in La La Land. Like when we saw him fight when he fought Frank Mir. That time, remember he fought Frank Mir? We were there live.
He took a square on the forehead.
Yeah, I don't know where he took it, but he was awake, but he wasn't, like Mark said, he wasn't there. You know, he hit him, and the dude's like, and you can see it in the replay, like he hits him, and the guy's he's still awake, but Ngannou, when he hits people, unless it's like a graze, if he just grazes them, then they're there. But if he hits them flush, it's like
it usually comes from that 7-foot hammer fist afterwards.
Jesus, man! Like, I don't know what.
These hammer fists are dumb. They're dumb. Nah, like look at Ngannou hammer fist highlight reel. Like dudes that are covering up, he just hits them, and you can hear the power of his fist just whacking guys. Like it's just dumb. It's so silly.
So moving right along. So who would you like to see him fight next before we go to the next part? Who would you like to see him fight next?
What in the heavyweight?
Yeah. Well, fucking who are you gonna say in the bantamweight? Cejudo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think he just waits. I'd like to see him wait and fight for the title again.
Who do you think wins out of Stipe and Daniel?
You know, I thought Stipe was going to win the first time, but this year blew me away. I don't know. I'm on the fence.
I think Stipe is like, although he was a champion and everything, I think people still don't give him that respect. Yeah, they don't, man. Like
respect.
Oh man, I think Stipe is like one of the best heavyweights ever. It's like right up there. Like I don't really know, you know, and it's hard to compare people outside of their eras. But you know, here's a question. How much do you think aura matters? Because Stipe didn't get that aura. He never got that aura like of an Anderson Silva or a Fedor had, where you were like, oh fuck, you know, you're almost a Mike Tyson. Mate, you have to go to the fight, sir.
Fucking hell. Oh.
You have to turn up.
Oh, shit.
You know? You didn't even defend the belt, buddy.
Fuck off.
You know, like
it wasn't my fault.
It was only 0.2 grams or whatever it was, mate. Like
he didn't make weight.
Well, it's only 0.2 grams. That's how I see it.
Fucking then fuck off. No. It's bullshit.
But aside from you, Stipe and Anderson and Mike Tyson, Fedor, Demetrius Johnson, like they had that aura going into.
I think because their runs were much longer though as well. Like they.
But I think he had like 3 title defenses.
Yeah, but you're comparing him to guys that had like 10 plus.
No, in that case, yes, I agree with you. But I still don't think he had that like that. Like at all. Like I don't think people gave him that respect. I think the people that I said, of course.
Yeah, but I feel until you start racking up like those defenses like those guys did, like 10, like then you don't get that aura. I think that aura is specifically for those guys that do that. Like, you look at all of them, and like Woodley didn't really have that. Woodley
See, he had a whole bunch of title defenses.
Yeah, but he had an aura of being Woodley, like he can still ice you at any stage, but it wasn't an Anderson Silva or a GSP yet.
But GSP, would you say GSP had that aura? Like, I used to go, I loved watching him fight, and I always thought he was going to win.
Yeah, I thought he had that aura. Like when he fought, when he was still very active, and I thought he had that aura. I think that is an aura. Was when if you go GSP's fighting X.
I thought he did, but I'm asking you, do you think that in general people thought that GSP had that same aura that an Anderson Silva had?
I think they both had like the unbeatable aura, but Anderson Silva had a crazy highlight reel. He highlight reel finished just about everyone. Same with John Jones. Same with a lot of those guys. Mike Tyson, like those guys had highlight reel finishes. A lot of them on like in their defenses. So like they had the unbeatable aura, but they also had the like he's gonna knock you out spectacular.
Yeah, that's the other difference I think as well. Because when you go to those fights, or when you watch an Anderson Silva fight, you're like, something terrible is going to happen to someone. You know what I mean? Something fucked up is going to happen. I think that's a big difference. Same as Fedor. That's the other thing. Like with Fedor, when you watched his fights, you're like, someone's going to get badly beaten up here, either knocked starch cold, or he's going to like abuse someone on the ground like badly. Because he didn't like jump in your guard, and like he was like, I want to punch your head through the. I saw the fight. I don't know if you saw it, but this would be like 10 years ago now, something like that, when he fought Big Nog, when he fought Nogueira. And I remember watching it thinking like, because I was a huge Nogueira fan, am a huge Nogueira fan. And I thought, this is going to be an interesting fight. And dude, he ground and pounded Nogueira. And at the time, Nogueira's chin was like uncrackable. But he ground and pounded him, and his head was bouncing off the canvas. And he was like diving in, throwing big Russian casting punches, like those punches over the top. And it's cracking him. And you could hear it like cracking him. It was bad. His ground and pound was bad. So when you'd watch, you'd be like, this guy is going to kill someone. Like today might be the day. Let's not miss it. Because whatever's wrong with us as a society. Before we go on to the next card, what is your like, what can you talk about this thing with is it on Twitter? I'm not very sure with the social media with you and John Jones and how that came about, or with like, was something, did Israel say something or
no? So John Jones and Israel are having like their little feud.
So it's not about you. You're not in it.
No, not at the beginning, but they're having like their little feud as Israel has with everyone. But yeah, they're just going back and forth, and then John Jones in the interview for one of the, I think, MMA shows or talk shows mentioned that he would like to help me prepare for Israel. Like he would be happy, and then I just started talking to him through Instagram, and we just went back and forth a couple times, and he's very interested to train with me. I'm interested in training with him, and we'll see where our paths cross after his fight. I, funnily enough, asked him if he wanted to move around a little bit this week because I forgot he was fighting. And my message was, "Hey man, where are you at the moment? Want to move around a little bit?" It was like fight week for him, and then straight away, I think you.
I told you.
You told me. You rang me up, and you were like, "Oh, I just remembered Jones is fighting this weekend." I was like, "Oh my god!" And I went back and messaged. Lucky I got the second message in before you read it, because otherwise he would have just. He still probably thinks I'm a spastic, but yeah, no, it's cool. We've met him. We met him a couple times. He's a good guy. Super nice guy. Easy to approach. Easy to talk to. So yeah, well. What
is your relationship? His brother's fucking huge, man.
Dude, so huge. And even in a scooter.
His brother Arthur, he had that scooter for his leg.
We saw him in a scooter with a leg, and he was still huge. Like we're like, how can that guy on a scooter with a bum leg look so intimidating?
He's huge, like massive
guy,
and he's like a gun wrestler too.
I'm pretty sure his whole family's like they're just the genetics in that family.
And so do you have any previous like actual relationship with John?
No, just through that. Like I met him a couple of times. Just spoken a lot of respect for the guy. Like I think he's the best fighter out there at the moment.
Did you and in fairness, because your interactions with Israel up like when you have been face to face like that.
I'm cool with him too. Like I don't know why we got off on the wrong foot.
But did you even get off on the wrong foot? I thought you were cool.
No, we got off on the right foot, and then he took supreme offence to something I said, which wasn't that bad. Like, jeez.
Or was it you then that said something first, or was they going back and forwards?
I don't know, because I don't pay attention to a lot of stuff, so it's hard to tell. Like I always find out people said stuff about me through other people. They're like, "Oh, did you hear about X, Y, and Z saying shit about you?" And I was like, "Nah, what did they say?" Like that's how I find out. But I may have kicked it off unintentionally by accident. I don't know. But I've tried apologising profusely and it falls on deaf ears. so but. Who knows? I'll probably run into him with the
for sure. October 6th, he'll be there.
I see what you did there. That was low. That was very, very low.
Do you want water? I'm gonna get water.
No, I'm good. I don't want anything from you. But
do you want water?
But yeah, I think we're cool. Like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out if we're cool. Like, I don't want any beef. Like, if he just
heavens no, you might end up fighting.
Like he can just be him. I'll just be me, and we'll settle our differences like men. October 6th.
Do you look for like? Here's a reality. Apart from the fact that John Jones would be a great training partner, regardless. What are the similarities? Are there? Did you see the because I know that they brought in Israel to be the training partner on a few fights for people that were going to fight John Jones. Do you see the reverse also being true? Do you see a lot of similarities in their games?
Sort of. I think John is very good at fighting like a tall fighter, so I think there's a similarity in that sense. They have like tricky kicks. Like John Jones has lots of tricks as well, like a lot of tricks that like Adesanya has. But that's kind of where the similarities draw to an end. Like they're both kind of tricky. I think that's the only similarity. So yeah, they're tricky and they're both long. So long and tricky. That's the only similarities, because like trying to compare one to the other is a bit hard.
I feel that John Jones' striking becomes a lot more effective, and I'm not saying striking is not good to begin with, but it becomes a lot more effective because of his wrestling and his ground game. Because there is an actual threat of him taking you down that you have to, if you're not aware of it, or you stop for a second or you sleep on it, you end up on your back with him elbowing you.
In saying that though, like John Jones is like every guy that goes into a fight with John Jones knows, like instinctively, that John's better everywhere.
Yeah.
He's better standing.
But that's the thing, he's better everywhere. It's not like he's just,
he's not one-dimensional at all.
He's got good striking. Dude, this guy's his striking's good, but then you got to be careful. He's going to take you down.
And you can see how it overwhelms people. Like that, his last fight with Lionheart.
Yeah.
Like, he just was so overwhelmed. Like there was you could see it in his expressions. He was trying to scramble, like work out how can I attack him, how can I do this, but there's no holes. He's
got a chin on him too.
He's an apex predator, dude. Like he is at the top of the food chain, of every food chain. He's a dangerous fighter. I think he's one of the best fighters in the world. Honestly, no, the best fighter in the world. I really honestly do.
What about we'll use that as a segue to this fight, Thiago Santos versus John Jones. What do you think?
Well, I haven't actually.
We'll work our way down that card.
I haven't seen a lot of Thiago.
I got the card.
I haven't seen a lot of Thiago Santos fight. I haven't seen a lot of him fight. You know, because he wasn't a guy that I was like had my sights set on as I was making my way up through the rankings, and so I haven't really had a chance to watch him fight too much because he was a middleweight that moved up and had a lot of success, much like Lionheart.
But as a fighter yourself, coming up from welterweight into middleweight, and then having good success there, how do you think that will help? Because you've had now you've got now with inclusion of Weidman, you've got 4 middleweights going up into light heavyweight. How does that help? How will that help with the transition, you think, from middleweight into light heavyweight with those guys? Do you think it's obviously benefiting Anthony Smith, or as you like to call him, Lionheart? Thiago Santos will look great. Rockhold, I'm sure, will look good. He's on that card as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Do you think that Thiago Santos can have the size as well? Because he's huge, man.
He'll definitely have the size.
I remember him. I remember seeing him in the lift. We were in Vegas for the Natal fight. I'm pretty sure he fought on that card too. And I remember being in the lift and he was cutting weight. And I looked and I didn't recognize him when he was cutting weight.
He'll definitely have the size. A lot of the middleweights that like are well and truly big enough for the.
Because he's massive, dude. Like he's huge.
You know. Yeah, they'll be more than he'll be more than big enough. The problem is though, like if I told you here, design someone to beat John Jones, it's like
a gun.
Yeah, like how
DC might have been a guy. Gustafsson.
Yeah, but in saying that, like when they went
both
the second,
lost.
Yeah, but when they went the second time as well, they lost worse. Like much more. You know, it's hard. It's like, what do you do with a guy like that? That can implement any game plan he wants.
Have you seen Jimmy Manuel versus Thiago Santos? Have you seen that fight?
Nope.
Watch that fight. That fight is like 2 dudes with skills got into a fight on the way to the bar at a nightclub.
Was that the head kick knockout?
Yes.
Yeah. I did see that fight.
And it was just like a barn burner.
It was a slugfest, and then Manuel got caught with the head kick. Wasn't it? Or was that a different fight?
No, he kicked, dude. These guys, I can't remember. I watched it yesterday again. But they kicked, I can't remember which shot ended it. They kicked and hit each other so much, man. Like so much, And so this is how I see it. I think Thiago Santos has definitely got power and he's got like kind of unorthodox strikes. But and this is no disrespect to Thiago Santos, because I think that if he lands it on someone, he'll ice him if he hits him on the chin. But I just don't see him having the ground game to not just to beat John Jones, but to threaten John Jones.
Yeah.
I don't even see him having that ground game to be able to threaten John Jones. And I think he's a little bit too wild with his strikes. Having said that, he could catch him.
Yeah,
he could catch him.
It might play to a strength of his. Like it may play to his betterment.
No, that's not a word. Don't make up words on the show, buddy.
It might be better for him to
David, can you talk to your mate? This is a fucking podcast, Rob.
I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Yeah, I am. It may be to his. Oh man, I fucked it up again. Fuck it.
To his bettering.
Yeah, it'll be good for him. It'll be good for him to fight like that.
Do you think...
betterment, I'm sure, is a word.
David, talk to him, mate.
It's not a word.
So, your pick? Your pick, Rob?
John Jones.
Dave, who's your pick?
Probably John.
What's that?
Probably John.
Yeah, I have to go with John Jones as well. Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm. This is an awesome card.
Dude, it's a great card. I can't wait to see that fight. Amanda Nunes is like one of the generally I don't watch too much of the women's division. I don't watch too much fights. So I don't watch a lot of fights, and I don't watch a lot of the women's division either. But I do like watching Nunes fight because it's always one-sided. It's always so one-sided. Like she goes in there and she just puts a beating on someone. I don't know why. I like seeing it.
Do you think she'll be able to do it to Holly Holm?
Yeah.
Holly Holm's a very accomplished striker.
Yes, I know. I think Nunes will just walk in and just punch her square in the mouth.
You think so?
Yes.
And her ground game's a lot better than Holly Holm's.
It's spectacular. But Amanda's boxing is pretty good.
No. Amanda Nunes' jiu-jitsu is much better than Holly Holm's.
Yeah, I know. But her boxing is...
Oh, it's good.
It's a money maker, and she's so powerful.
She hits hard.
Yeah, like she is the Ngannou of the women's division. She's just icing people. So,
Do you reckon she'll get Holly Holm out of there?
Yeah.
Within one round?
Yeah, I think so. Don't get me wrong. This is nothing on Holly. I love Holly. I think she's a great fighter, and she's done some great things. But I think Nunes right now is looking at the top of her game, like the top of her game. She's in her prime. So, I don't see her losing. I don't. It's hard to say.
Dave?
Nunes easily.
Okay.
After how she smashed Cyborg, I'm convinced that there's no one to beat her.
She just hits too hard.
Except for Ngannou.
Yeah.
Except for you, Fab.
Nah, she'll beat me.
She'll fucking ice you, Fab. She will ice you so bad.
I would have to say Nunes. I'd say she'd beat me, actually. I wouldn't be surprised.
You should say that.
Welterweight. This fight, I'm a little bit because I don't want to see either one of these guys lose. I'm actually a huge fan of both guys. Masvidal and Askren. Who you got in that fight?
I don't know. I'm just gonna sit on the fence of that one. It's like I would have went Masvidal if I didn't see the beating Askren took, withstood, and then came out on top when he fought Lawler. Like that was crazy. Like Askren's chin is top notch, and his ability to just jump back on the game plan was remarkable.
Do you think that Masvidal's a little less wild than Lawler? A little bit more composed?
Yeah, but Lawler's wildness is what almost finished Askren, So I think Masvidal is a great fighter. Like I think his stand-up is like ridiculously high, top-notch, and he's tough as nails. So like I honestly, like I said, I'm on the fence. I don't know which way this is going to fight. This fight's going to go, but I cannot wait.
This fight is the one I'm looking forward to probably more than anything on that card that I can think of.
Yes.
Who you got, Dave?
Probably Askren.
Why do you say Askren?
I don't know. I think he's just been a little bit dominant. I think he'll get him to the ground and win.
Masvidal's a good wrestler, but you know what the problem is where I see it, and I'm a Masvidal fan, I have to say, but the problem that I see is I could see, unless he's fixed his game, which he might well have done, he's a smart guy, he's a good fighter, I see what Maya did to him, like that kind of game. And it was a close fight, don't get me wrong, but I see Askren being better at it.
Yeah.
I see Maya's jiu-jitsu being better than Askren's, but I see Askren's overall grappling being better. Like I think Askren is, just because of his, like if they were to roll, maybe Maya would tap him, but if they were to fight, Jake Shields took Maya down and was able to get that decision out. And I know, like I've seen them train Askren and Jake Shields, and Askren is Jake Shields 2.0, you know what I mean, as far as the wrestling. And again, like...
And it's only 15 minutes.
That's what I mean, man. Like if he takes him down and holds him down 3 minutes of every round, or even rides him 3 minutes of every round.
And he's tough too. He can take shots.
Fuck yeah. So, yeah, it might be Askren, but I'm actually... I'll have to go... If I had to, I'd probably say Askren. but I think Masvidal has all the abilities to stop him. I can't wait for that fight. Interesting fight. Jan Blachowicz I'm going to fuck up the name, Blachowicz versus Luke Rockhold. Who you got?
I haven't seen a lot of Blachowicz fight.
Man, I'm interested to see how Rockhold would be at.
It's been a long time since Rockhold has fought.
And how he
how he looks at that light heavy, I think will be very. He was always huge though, so like I'm very interested in that. But like, I can't wait to see the return of Rockhold. Honestly, like
I have a question for you. How do you think he's definitely got the size for the light heavyweight division, but he enjoyed a height and reach advantage over most of his guys, most of his adversaries at middleweight. How do you feel that will translate without that height and reach advantage?
It's hard to say.
Do you think that's going to affect him?
Well, no, because he enjoyed the height and reach advantage, but his game is still very viable for if the reach and height is similar. You know, it's just the taller guys that his like, implementation of his game might be a little harder. But in saying that though, I think the benefits outweigh the cons. I think him not having to cut as much weight, because every time I saw him on stage when he cut weight for middleweight, he looked drawn. So I think that'll play a big part in his chin, and which he's got. Like he does have chin, and I think just the amount of strength he'll be able to bring into the fight, because his ground game is phenomenal too. So I'm very, very interested.
I can't really pick someone because I haven't seen Rockhold at light heavyweight, and for me a big enigma is him going in there without the height, the significant height and reach advantage, which I've never really seen him not have at middleweight. You know, so that's something that I'm interested in. And I guess Michael Chiesa versus Diego Sanchez.
I think maybe, I don't know, I'd lean probably towards Chiesa. He's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter.
I think Chiesa wins it. I think Diego Sanchez, his best days are behind him.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that. I think he was phenomenal back in the day. I do think that, but I don't think that. Chiesa's an up-and-coming young guy, and Diego Sanchez, he looked good in his last outing, but I don't know that he's got enough.
I saw something where he left his training camp, training at Jackson Wink, was he?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I don't know.
It was one of those gyms.
No, I know he was with them.
And he left 3 weeks out. Don't know why.
I don't know.
He just straight up left.
What, now, recently?
Recently, for this fight.
Okay.
And, he was saying some other trippy stuff. Some trippy. He's a funny dude to listen to. He says some trippy shit.
I don't know. I've always been a huge fan of his, actually, but I don't think...
trippy shit.
I think Chiesa's huge, man.
Yeah, and he's good. He's a good grappler.
He's another guy that I didn't recognise. I didn't recognise Thiago Santos, and I didn't recognise him.
He's a nice guy too. He's that guy that was in the bus, with us.
No, he wasn't on the bus with us. He was on the other bus, because that's the bus that got the... He was on the bus that got the thing thrown through the window.
Yes.
We were on the other bus.
Were we there?
We were at Brooklyn when it happened.
Okay.
Yeah. But, But, no, not in that fight, but it was I think when you fought...
We were watching.
Yeah, but there was a fight where you were fighting, and it was, I don't know if it was Uriah Hall or someone or whatever, and he was there watching, and I was in the gym upstairs, and he came in, and I looked at him, and I was like, I don't know who that guy, I know him from somewhere. It was like a thing, but he wasn't cutting weight.
Yeah. And
he used to fight at light weight.
Yeah.
And he must have weighed, honestly, he was like lean, but probably 90 kilos. He was fucking massive. And we were talking, and then he asked about you and this and that. And I was looking at him like, and then when he walked out, I was like, no, it can't be him. Because this guy was huge. You know who else is, like, sometimes I don't recognise him. When you fought in the same card as him a bunch of times, and we've been there when they're cutting weight and that. James Vick.
Yeah, he's massive guy.
When, like, there was one time I saw him where he wasn't fighting and I didn't recognise him. But then afterwards, I was like, oh, that's him.
Yeah.
And then we saw him again, but he was fighting. And he comes up to me and goes, hey, Rob.
Yeah, he's so scrawny.
Yeah. And I looked at him and I thought, oh, that. Then it fucking, he's the same person, man. Like, it's incredible, but like.
The weight cutting is crazy.
But those guys especially, though, that's a huge weight cut.
A lot of the guys, like predominantly do massive cuts.
All right, let's get to, I suppose, the fucking fight.
The business.
Let's we're gonna have a game of Mortal Kombat, me versus Rob.
Take your bets, Dave. Who you got?
Who you got, Dave?
Do I have to pick?
Yes.
How do I?
The big coward. Oh yeah, I want to be first player.
No, I'm the A side, mate.
Let's start then. Look at me accommodating for you.
Okay.
Are you going to try and cheese me with Sub-Zero again?
Okay.
You're going to try and cheese me with Sub-Zero?
I am who I am. You be who you are, Rob. Because that's what's really cool.
Who you picking, Dave?
What is it? Is it best out of 3 or 1 round?
Let's see.
Let's see. I think I got Fab, Rob. Sorry.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, how do you block? Oh.
I know you don't check leg kicks.
Mine's lagging. What? What?
Oh!
What?
Oh!
Hey, what's the best out of?
Best out of what? You do the 3 rounds, winner.
How do you block?
Not like that, buddy. Oh!
Yeah, dog.
Fuck.
Dog. That's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get.
Hold on one sec. Hold on.
What do you mean, hold on? No way.
Oh, don't. I said hold on.
No. Oh, how do I do that? Oh, duck.
Oh! Fucking. Fuck!
Finish you. Look at this.
I have one more game.
One more game because he lost.
Bitch.
It's fucking
And
shit.
you were trying to cheese me as well. Press start to continue. And you were trying to cheese me with Sub-Zero as well. I need to know more special abilities.
Use someone else. I can't play this without with this joystick.
Use somebody else. I don't know any abilities, but.
Alright.
Did I pick him? Who am I?
Liu
Liu
Kang.
Kang.
Hey, give me an
Back
ability.
punch.
Back punch. What does that do?
Should
Fuck,
be a
you've got a
fireball.
coach and everything.
Look at this by cheesing me. I take that. Back punch is nothing, you liar.
Try back kick.
Oh, how do you block? No, I'm serious. Oh, he's trying.
No leg kick defense. Oh yes! Caught you in the end of that jab.
Give me an ability, please. Maybe I'll just start.
Fine.
Oh,
Was that back punch, Rob?
no, it's forward.
Forward hold. Sorry, my bad.
How do you block? Is there no block in this game? Fuck! How do you block?
Yes!
How do you block?
Yes! Yes!
How do you
The
block?
best ever! The best!
You lost some.
I'm the best! I'm the
Play
fucking
a different
best.
character, you pussy.
Go, let's go.
So, one
best
more.
out of 3.
No, but how do you block?
Up ahead, you block.
You're all tall.
How you block?
You're all tall. When you win.
Player 1 says pull back to block. I don't think that's true.
Nah, dude, I've been trying to pull back. Check those, bro.
Yeah,
How do you block?
does not check leg kicks.
I don't think my controller's working properly.
Excellent.
Tell me your one beats mine.
Oh! What? How do you block?
How do
That's
you
a
block?
question.
How do you block? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Bullshit! Absolutely bullshit. How do I do that?
Oh yeah!
This is bullshit.
No, you fucker! Hit him! Jump, you little fucking bastard! No! Oh yes! The best! The best! You can't teach heart, kids.
No.
You can't teach heart. Thank you very much, guys.
Best out of three, is that it?
That's best out of 3, Dave. Best out of
That's
3.
best out of 3.
Guys,
What?
That was best out of 3. You
That
won
was
the
bullshit.
first.
No, I changed my character.
No. Thank you very
How
much,
can I do
guys.
that? It's
Thank you
one
for
all.
watching, guys. Tell
No,
everyone
it's
you
one
know
all.
that
It's one
fucking
all.
Fab smashed Rob.
I picked Luke
Fab
Kane the
is
second
the best
game.
ever. The best. The best.
Hey, I picked Luke Kane in the second game.
I picked the King the second game.
Oh,
I
fuck
won.
you.
I won. Thank you very much, guys, and see you guys soon. Oh, we're going to be doing like a video podcast, the first one ever. Bear with us, be patient. We're going to do the first one ever with Rob when Rob's overseas, because he's going overseas to watch the fights and be at the press conference and whatnot. Normally I would have traveled with Rob, but that also coincides with the launching of the GAP program. So I'll be here and we'll be doing the launching of the GAP program, and also do a what do you call it?
Video
Like
conference or something like that.
something like that with Rob. Remember, guys, it doesn't matter if I'm better than Rob at video games or whatever.
Hey, you're talking a lot of shit right now, but everyone saw how I changed character in the second game because you were bitching, and then
And what happened in the third game? Did you have the character you wanted to have?
yeah, but
And I still
that
beat
means
him.
it was 1-1.
No.
You didn't beat me as
You
Scorpion
changed
twice.
and you became Liu Kang.
You told me to.
I didn't tell you to.
It's fucking recorded. It's recorded.
I won.
It's
Thank
recorded.
you, guys. Thank you very much.
Like,
Please leave your comments down below.
yeah.
If anyone, I'm doing instructionals. We're going to have a YouTube instructional
Yeah,
for
fucking
Mortal Kombat.
fuck.
Thank you very much, guys. Hashtag and still. Thank you.